everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of 31 Days of Indie Horror. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got an awesome guest here. She was here last year, I believe. She was here. I think that's how we first met and started, and then I kind of roped her into Indie Film Cafe, where she's been doing a lot more episodes with us. Please welcome Ri'Maku. How you doing, Ri'Maku?
What's up? I'm doing great. How are you?
I did say your name right? Because I know you get you get people who say it completely wrong and kind of butcher your name. So don't want to do that again ever.
It's all fine.
Okay, good. So we're gonna be talking about the 2000. I think it's 2018 is when but it came out. I think like last year, 2020, movie Blind. Which I've had for a while, and now it's on Tubi, so you can all check it out if you guys want to see it. It was written by Joe Netter and directed by Marcel Waltz, who I'd seen Rootwood of his, and the first one I saw was his remake of Blood Feast, which I really, really liked. And so I was really excited to see this one, but this one was definitely a different movie than anything I've ever seen him do. It's a little bit more arty, I would say, So let's go into, I guess, a little bit of like the story and the background and everything. But let me read what it says here, and if you want to tackle anything onto it, feel free. But it says on IMDb, Faye, played by Sarah French, is a former actress who lost her vision due to a botched laser eye surgery, struggles to put her life back together while living alone in her dream house in the Hollywood Hills. Supported by her friend Sophia, played by Caroline Williams, she started opening up to Luke, Tyler Gallant, a personal trainer who is mute and can communicate only through his cell phone. When a masked stranger named Pretty Boy, played by Jed Rowan, shows up, Faye will realize that she isn't as alone as she thinks. Would you say that's like a pretty accurate description of it?
Yeah, I'd say that pretty much nailed it.
So I mean, it pretty much explains the whole story, but there's a lot more to it. And if you haven't seen it yet, and you don't want to be spoiled, go watch it right now, because we're gonna do some spoilers. So that's just going to have to happen because we're doing a longer show. So there's going to be spoilers. So this is your warning. Turn back now. So to begin with, the movie kind of starts out with you getting to know Sarah's character, Faye, a little bit. That she, all the stuff about her losing her sight due to the laser surgery, which I don't know if they really got into too much, but they kind of glossed over it a little bit, like it didn't seem like anybody even knew. Like random people who knew who she was as an actress, they didn't really know like that happened, So what would you say?
It did seem to be something that she wasn't necessarily being like, it was strange. She was in a support group for it, and yet people who recognized her, and there was enough time for it too, because there was a sequel to the movie she was in, they mentioned. Like they still didn't seem to recognize that she was blind. So I don't know why it wouldn't have been publicized if she was living in this big Hollywood home and had a name.
Exactly. So yeah, I you find out later that there was a what is it that there's a sequel to that movie. What was the movie called? God, I just watched the movie.
Fog something?
Fogstorm.
Fog Hill?
I thought it was Fogstorm.
Fogstorm? So it was something.
Fogstorm. Yeah. Something like that. And then there was a sequel, and apparently she wasn't in that one because she was promoting the movie, and she mentions in the thing that she's going to get her eyes done, I guess, so that's where you sort of get it,
Yeah.
That sort of sucks, because that happens. I'm sure that things like that, like, I haven't gotten LASIK, as you can see, so I don't know, but like that would suck. Like, yeah. Oh, there you go. We're both glasses. There you go. But she unfortunately did something, she was tired of wearing contacts, and then all that happened, and so there you go. What were your initial thoughts on it when you first saw it?
I thought that it was certain mm, so normally when I watch these things, I'm looking for like cinematic errors and stuff like that. But the first thing that I noticed was just how well it was shot in general. It
Mhm.
was it was very, very pretty. It was just like visually very appealing.
Mhm. Which you're cinematographer as well, so you probably look at that the most anyway. Like you're trying to find out, like, do you look at it and you're like, oh my god, what lens did they use for that particular shot, or or whatever. I love the drone shots. I loved the cinematography was very pretty for this movie, which I guess for an independent film of this nature, I mean, this isn't your typical, like, this isn't a slasher movie or anything. And I'm afraid people go into it thinking that, but like I said before, this is a little bit more arty. Like,
Yeah, it's like a, how did you describe it? A slow burn thriller.
yeah, slow burn thriller, which I honestly am not a big fan of slow burn movies. But what I generally don't like about burn movies is generally a lot of times they're boring, to me. Like I understand we're supposed to kind of, be patient, or, or whatever, and enjoy. But I think what I really liked about this was I don't think I got bored because of all the pretty pictures and stuff. Like there was always something to look at, you know. Um, I'll mention this. I watched the new Candyman movie, and I liked this better.
I haven't seen the new Candyman, so I can't really remark on that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, because that movie is also a little arty at times, and I feel like this accomplished the artiness a little bit better. Like I enjoyed this because it wasn't like so in your face with the art. It just was there, in the background. It was nice. Um,
Okay.
Once again, you'd have to watch the new Candyman to understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
well, I don't know. I sort of like it when the art is in your face sometimes. I feel
See,
like it's really just up to personal preference, I think.
yeah, all movies are subjective. There's some things that people are gonna like that some people aren't gonna like. So you had some notes. Is there anything particular you wanted to talk about that we haven't discussed yet?
Hmm. Okay. Well, let's see. Trying to think about where to start. Okay. All right. So the beginning, there were a couple things that I really liked and a couple things that I really didn't. I guess I just didn't get it. Um, for example, I understand that it was a slow burn thing. The primary story was following Faye, and it was sort of just, going through her emotional experience as somebody who is newly blind and who wound up there by vanity, vanity alone. Um, but I suppose I didn't really understand the motivations behind the bad guy, behind what was he called? Pretty Boy?
Pretty Boy.
Yeah. I didn't really understand the motivations behind him because the only shots that we saw of him were very vague, beautifully shot, wonderfully, like the set dressing was phenomenal. The lights and everything, I really really enjoyed that. The only thing is I didn't really get where he was coming from or why he was doing what he was doing, because initially you get the idea that, like, okay, he likes dolls and he likes, beautiful things and apparently eyes and eyeballs, but it doesn't make sense exactly. Like I can see where he's emulating his own like disfigurement with that, but I don't think that I understand quite the motivation behind why he's doing what he's doing.
You know what? You're probably right. Like there's you know what? And so I'm gonna kind of skip to the end and just mention that it sort of ends with a abrupt ending of her getting, she's looks like she's gonna get kidnapped or killed or something, right? But then they cut
Right.
to credits. And I'm guessing that's a setup for Pretty Boy, which is the next movie, which hopefully those answers will be answered, or those questions will be answered. But the problem is, you're right. Like when you watch the first movie, you're kind of looking at it like why is he doing this? Why is he following this girl? What is his motivation? And if you're expecting that the people would watch the second one to find out, you need to put that in the first one. You need to put those answers kind of in the first one, so
Or
that
at least like tease them in.
right, something give the audience something, because really all now then again, when you look at it and you're thinking about it, and the way I thought about it when I was watching it was that there are characters and there are people that just sort of are fascinated by pretty things, like you said, and maybe like I don't know where he saw her first. Maybe he's been a fan or something. We don't know. Like we don't know any of this stuff. We don't know why he like fixated on her, why he kidnapped her friend, which had nothing,
Yeah,
you
we
know.
have we have like zero reasons, zero understanding. All we know is that he seems to be going after the people in her life, but there's also not a clear enough direction as to why. Like there's no definitive conversation happening in a place where he can see in which she should deserve to be a target at any point.
Right. Exactly. So I will 100% agree that it is very confusing as to why Pretty Boy is, and you didn't even know that his name was Pretty Boy, because unless you read the credits and you kind of got that thing, because his name's never mentioned, at
Right,
all.
yeah, like I didn't even know that he was called Pretty Boy until you mentioned it before
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. So, and Jed Rowan, who did Pretty Boy, was phenomenal. His makeup when they took off his mask was very, I want to say like Friday the 13th esque, like Jason esque, like
Mm.
deformed, kind
I
of
did have
look.
thoughts on on that.
Okay.
But I'll hold off. Continue.
No, no, no. You go on your thoughts. I want to hear that.
Okay, well, my thought was that it sort of fell into a trope that I think is tired. I think that it fell into the trope of physically ugly equals evil, and seeking beauty it seemed to be like his thing. And I think that it's a tired trope because we have so long as a society sort of taken the idea of disfigurement and of like just in general not looking beautiful and normal, and we've turned it into something to be held in disdain, and I think that that's exhausting. And so to see that done again, to me personally, and again this is just my opinion, I think to me it came across as almost disappointing. Like I think it would have been more interesting if we didn't fall into that trap.
So, would you have rather us not have seen Pretty Boy's face, or would you have rather that we saw just a normal looking guy who didn't have any kind of disfigurement and it wasn't,
Honestly, I think it would have been incredible if this person was also like strikingly beautiful. I think that it would have been interesting because, at this point, we enter into the trope of, okay, this man is obviously mentally ill and he's disfigured. And this whole entire thing is about disabled people. And there was like a point, I'm not entirely sure, but I think there was a point where they started talking about them as like differently abled, which is a little, but the entire thing, I think, um, it was just I think it would have been stunning to see something that we don't normally see. And I think for such an artistic movie that was, again, incredibly beautifully shot, they really hit it with the teal and orange there. I think that they really missed the mark with what the villain should have been for it to match the level of cinematography that they had.
I agree. No, I 100% agree. I wish that they had done something like that, but I mean, I guess woulda, shoulda, coulda doesn't matter, now like
Yeah.
it's done, it's over. Like now if you watch the sequel, and so that's the interesting thing is now somebody like you who's seen this movie, the first one, Blind, seeing the ending where it does reveal like that, you're disappointed. I mean, would you have interest in a sequel after that, or do you lose interest?
I don't think I've completely lost interest. I think the cinematography alone, just how pretty it was, would probably pull me into the second one just to see if they can like kind of bounce back from that. But story wise, I don't think is enough to pull me in. Speaking of story, I got a bone to pick. Okay.
Okay.
All right. My man Luke was amazing. All the rings, I'm just the hair, sucker for a guy like that. Absolutely adored Luke. His entire like
Tyler
the
Galan is a
actors,
great guy. Yeah.
yeah, his expressions were solid. The way that he communicated emotion, despite not having like the vocal box and being able to like type and everything, it was just never overstated. I absolutely adored him. How dare you give him an off-screen death?
Oh,
How
right.
dare you? They had such
Well,
a chance. It
here's
was
an here's an interesting thing. Here's an interesting thing. He is in the sequel.
what?
Mm-hmm. That's all I'm gonna say. Is
Okay,
he's
well now
in
I
the
have to watch
sequel?
it because you
Yeah,
meant Luke.
because I don't think he's dead. You do
His
sort of
eyes
see
were
him.
wide open and unseeing. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I looked at the IMDb for Pretty Boy. He's in there, and I'm
Is he
like,
in there as Luke?
yeah,
Well, then it might be flashbacks.
it could be
Who
flashbacks,
knows?
or
Who
it could
knows?
be like
Like the
it could,
ghost of Luke is getting you through the situation.
or maybe they decided, well, they're making the sequel. They got to have show his actual death, so they give him an actual death for the sequel.
They better. They better. If they're gonna kill him, they better make it dramatic, heartbreaking, and worthy of such an amazing character.
If
Honestly.
they do that, they'd probably have to do that in the opening. But just to kind of continue going with it or whatever. But that's the only other thing I could think of because he is not on the top bill of. Now I don't know if that's IMDb. Sometimes IMDb does it by like alphabetical order, or whatever. But
Yeah.
I all I'm saying is I saw him in the freaking credits there. So because I was just perusing around after I watched the movie and I saw that and I'm like, okay, so he
Yeah.
did he not die? Is he alive? Like, because he looked like he was dead. You're right. So, and I was really disappointed too because yeah, he was one of my favorite characters. And I when she had that scene and she's telling who she thinks is him, everything. I just found it was so heartbreaking to me because I was like, I wish Luke had been there, like
Honestly, I was trying to pay attention to that scene. I was mad. But also I felt like that scene and a few of the other scenes, like the dancing scene with Pretty Boy and Faye, I felt like those scenes kind of went on too long and I sort of lost interest because she monologued and she monologued and she monologued for like 3 minutes straight. And then, she went into the room and then she monologued some more. And at that point, we were just like all of this could have been said over time throughout the film, but instead you make this amazingly like full seeming character. You get Faye, right, who is
right.
trying to overcome all of this stuff going on inside of her, and you barely hint at it through the film, but you let her you make her act mostly flat, like she's blind, not lobotomized.
Right.
She was so solemn. Like when the police was going through, she had not a hint of anxiety. She had not a hint of nervousness, which would have led her to call the police in the first place. She was just numb and empty for most of the film. And then all of a sudden she like, except when she's, dancing alone to the on the nose Love is Blind music. And and like she has these emotions when she's alone and then she just shuts down in front of people, but then she finally opens up and it's a 5 minute not 3 minute monologue. It's just monologue. I can speak.
Yeah,
It's
I get that. Like,
it was delivered well. It just was a little much, I think, for me.
somebody said in an IMDb review, they were saying something about the fact that, she's blind. She's, you know, um, but that still means she can make facial, expressions. And I like, honestly liked that. I liked her flatness for her character because like that's a bold move right there for any actor to like stay that way throughout the, you know what I mean? And
It is a bold move, but also she's playing a literal actress.
right,
And as far as I know, the ability to make expressions like that translates off screen as well. I mean, you can't really be making these expressions if you don't make them in real life.
Right.
And so like if she like and she had the ability to make them. It's just it's an interesting choice to make her not express any emotion whatsoever until it's too late, like literally every time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it. I liked it. It didn't bother me at all. I understand where people are coming from. Um
Mhm.
and I can understand why that would bother people. So I get it. But I thought, I mean, I've known Sarah for a long time. Like I've known her for, I want to say, since like 2007 or 6, and I have seen a lot of her movies, period, throughout time. And
Mhm.
this is probably her best performance that she's ever had, like, yet, I'm planning to watch more and more stuff of hers as time goes on. And, you know, it's funny. This movie, I think, was, I mean, it was written basically for her to try to get her, it wasn't a vanity project, but it was definitely a very big project for her to be a part of. And I'm very happy that, like, this was you know this was done,
Yeah.
and it was done in a way where I felt like it was made so awards could get seen, and they could go and make a sequel. And who knows how the sequel is. I know it just got released. So this is August that we're recording this. Just got released, like, as a in a uh festival, and stuff circuit. So I'm really excited to see when it comes out, and I want to watch it again. Maybe we'll do another review so you can watch
Yeah.
it and see how what you thought of it. But it was like, this was actually and I'm gonna say it was a lot better than even I was expecting, because I didn't know what to expect from it. I kind of thought maybe it might be, because I don't, like I said, I don't like slow burn movies. I thought it might be too boring for me, but as I said, the pretty pictures and the constant stuff going on interested me, like, kept me entertained. And I loved, Thomas Haley's in it, and I've seen him do a lot of work, and he played the cop, that came
Mhm.
in.
Oh my gosh, when the cop came on screen, I watched this with my collaborative storytelling group because that's pretty much what I do almost every time. Is just
Nice.
like we'll sit there and we'll comment on it. It helps me take notes. As soon as the cop came on, we were all like, "Oh my god, he's enormous! Oh my god!" Like at some point, I'm pretty sure I said the word "step on me." It was he was a beautiful man. Very appreciative of his existence.
Yes, and he did a great job. Like, he was, like, a lot of time you get, and I think this goes to the writer Joe Netter. A lot of times you get these characters that are very flat, for cops, or very flat, and they don't seem real.
Mhm.
I don't know if Thomas did like a lot of research or anything, but he came off like a real cop. Like, he came in there. I at first I was gonna laugh because he's an LA cop, and I've met LA police officers, and they're very nice, but they're very direct with you. Like, they don't want to waste their time. They don't want to bullshit, and they don't want to, like, cuz they've got other shit. Like, they've got a lot of shit to do, and they get called into a lot of BS that they shouldn't have to deal with. And so for him to like come in there and have to look around the house, and then he says the line that I just love, which is just like, would you like me to look around again?
Yeah, but like
Like,
he never went in the kitchen in the first place. So
did he or did he not? I don't remember,
no,
but he
he
might
just went
not.
straight to he went straight down the hall. He looked in the bedroom, he looked in the basement, and then he came back and he's like, "You want me to look again?" And he didn't look in the entire other side of the house.
Well,
I think,
maybe.
I think the reason why I am so critical of this movie is because it's so good overall.
Mhm,
Like I think I'm extra critical with things that are shot really well and that have good acting.
mhm.
And I don't think that anybody was a bad actor in this one.
No, I we've made you watch bad movies.
Hmm.
A few. Probably all of them except for this one has
Yeah.
been like, and that's why I wanted this one for you, because I remember, because I watched about 30 minutes before I picked this again. I'd watched 30 minutes before, and I don't know what happened, but I got kind of distracted or whatever. Wasn't able to finish it, and I was like, you know what, I want to do this. I want to do this as 31 days. Who could I pick? And I was like, well, I remember it having really good cinematography. And I was like, okay, who better than Ri'Maku to, like, criticize the cinematography and let me know, like what your thoughts were on it, because I'm I'm not a like, I'm more of an actor's director. I do know stuff about, what shots I want to get, but I don't know what's going to look like incredibly beautiful at times, as a director. So when I saw this movie, I was like, this movie is amazing, but maybe you had other, like maybe you saw it and you were like, I wouldn't have done that, or, like, why did they have this shot? But I guess you didn't have any moments like that, did you?
It's not that I didn't have that. It's that every cinematographer has those, and that doesn't to express that a whole lot kind of detracts from the way that the cinematographer purposely put it together. In something like this, everything seems very purposeful. So any critique that I might have on that, I think would be pretty disrespectful to the DP. Because I see how much effort went into it and how purposeful it was. And I will say I admired the lighting, the teal lighting. The teal and orange thing is like really has been big in the cinematic world for a while. And I think that they really did so great for saturating the light as much as they did. I thought it was very beautiful.
I agree. And I really like the what is it? The crap, the lights, the Christmas lights or whatever that were like strewn around everywhere. So here's a question that I was wondering while I was watching it. So were the Christmas lights in the house too? Did he put them
It
in there?
it looked like they were like in some sort of side basement area. It looked like he entered in the door from the side, but he couldn't see it from the basement in the first place. So maybe the basement was separated into two things, or it was a utility shed or something.
Well, there looked like one scene where she's walking in her room and you can see the thing, but I wasn't sure if that was like a reflection of
I'm
like
not
outside or something. I don't know. It was weird to me, but I liked it. Like, I thought it was cool, but I was for a second I thought she was gonna trip over those things. Like, I thought that was the plan, was, we're gonna set up these lights and then she's gonna trip and fall. And you know what I mean? Like, because she can't see anything and she only knows her house the way she knows it, you know.
right.
Um
I think there were two scenes that I really had a big problem with.
okay.
Um, the first one was when what's her name? Sarah? Was it Sarah, the best friend?
Sophia?
Sophia. When Sophia's murder scene came up, when she was walking, she did this strange this thing, like when she was afraid, she was just saying "pa" a bunch of times, and it was confusing. I didn't quite get it. Like, I guess everybody reacts to fear differently. That was just a very, very like specific way to react that didn't really tie in anywhere else. It
Right.
was interesting. Um,
And that was a
and then
problem that you had? Like, you really
it just when it was happening, I was just squinting at it. Like, it just made me look twice, and I was just like, what?
all right, all right. Okay, interesting. Uh
Yeah, it was it was it was just strange. That's all. That's all.
okay. What was the other thing?
Okay, so the other it wasn't like a huge issue, but so I'm trying to think how to word this. Um so I expressed that, like, my issue with like the monologue because it seemed to be just like a bit long,
Mhm.
right? The dancing scene, I expressed that was like a bit, that was a bit super long. It gives the impression that, Pretty Boy super liked her, so he was like trying to isolate her and stuff. But it was just so long.
Right.
It went through like two verses and almost two choruses of the music, that it was just a little confusing to me, why it was so
Okay.
long.
Hmm. Interesting. I think, I guess, that's a pacing issue, like
Yeah.
because that might have maybe helped with the pacing a little bit to cut that down. Especially because like really all it is her singing and him watching, like or not singing but dancing and him watching, you know.
Also, why did Luke put his number as speed dial 3 when she used voice commands?
That sounds like a continuity issue. Like that sounds like
She
a
used them, yeah, she used them beforehand to call Sophia, and then Luke set his to speed dial 3, which she couldn't accurately see. She'd just have to do guesswork for. And she
right.
uses voice commands anyway. So it was just very
Maybe he
okay.
didn't know she used voice commands, and so he just did that as I don't know.
That part I just want to know.
Just wanted the answer. Maybe they'll
Yeah, I just want to know.
hey, if you worked on the movie and you were listening to this, comment below, let us know. um I will tag everybody in this, that I know. Also we forgot to mention Sushi Boy, which is the guy who comes to bring her food,
Sushi. Okay, I had like oh, that was the other thing. That was the other thing. Okay, like how you gonna be like, oh, you're famous. That's so cool. Can I get your autograph? Oh no, I just meant signing the receipt. Why do you say autograph then? Like nobody does that. Nobody says that.
I
They
think
just
that
like
was
say
supposed
it.
to be a joke. Because like,
Rude.
like when people say I want your autograph, but you really they mean to sign it, or
Yeah.
whatever. But like it was a joke, but I get it. Like it was sort of a flat joke that I feel like got a little confusing as to why he would say that like that and everything.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I was just sitting there. Great acting. Hated him as a character. I was just, how could you? How dare you? Like you're going in there, you're going through her laundry.
yeah, he's
Really?
about to steal
At
all
least
her
they put it
shit,
back.
you know.
At least
Apparently he stole a dress or Pretty Boy stole the dress. I'm
no,
not
Pretty Boy
sure.
stole the dress because he took the dress off the hook and then he put it on her best friend. And he
Oh,
didn't
that's
even put it
true.
on her right because she was missing a sleeve.
That's right. That's right. Okay. That's yeah. So so he didn't steal anything, even though like yeah, so but he did leave the door open because he's
He did.
I don't know why anybody would do that, but
I mean, like
knowing
you snuck in and then you leave the door open and then you're filming like with the light on, that's going to reflect on the glass. Like you'd have to press it up against the glass for the light to go through. It was just like he was just a mean dude. He was a
I
mean
know.
man.
I know. I thought he did. Yeah, like you said, he was a great actor, but your character you're supposed to hate, and it was supposed to be one of those character
Success.
moments where
I hate him.
you hate him and you're happy when Pretty Boy kills him.
Yes, I was very happy when Pretty Boy killed him. It was necessary. He had to die.
He had to die. Like, after he did all that, you're like,
You're
you know
just
what?
being mean to the poor lady after she was going through all that stuff. Mean, I tell you.
So was Pretty Boy a hero, a villain, or both?
Oh, villain for sure. I
Villain.
mean, like reasons or not boils down to still murder. Like, cool story, bro. He still killed somebody, like three somebody's, four somebody's at least. It's just definitely a villain. And also, you let this chick monologue and spill all her feelings for you and get naked. There was a nipple. Like,
Mhm.
get naked, don't hurt me. And then there you are with your rose and your blood, and like, no, you're a villain. There's no that's nasty. You're a villain. There is
Yeah.
no coming back from that. I don't care what backstory you have.
Well, hopefully in Pretty Boy we'll see a little bit more. Maybe we'll get
Hopefully,
to
in Pretty Boy dies.
maybe it sets up for a trilogy.
I
I don't
hope
know.
Faye kills him. I hope Faye kills him stone dead.
Well, I mean, I'm sure at the end of this saga or whatever, I don't know how many they're planning to do or whatnot. I am really excited, basically for this. Like I loved the cinematography. I love the acting. The direction was pretty great.
Mhm.
Like I really didn't have much of a problem. Like other than I'm agreeing with you 100% that there should have been some more backstory on some of the stuff, like explanation. It would have been hard though, because like Pretty Boy don't talk, you know. At least we haven't heard him speak yet, you know. Oh, did I lose you for a second?
No, yeah, you did lose me for a second.
Okay, good. I got you back. Okay, good. But what I was saying was like I enjoyed all the cinematography, all the acting, everything was great. The only thing I do, do agree with you on is that there should have been more backstory, right? And there should have been more explanation for Pretty Boy, but Pretty Boy don't speak. He don't talk. So
Right.
like I don't know how we could have, unless we saw some flashback of who he was before, which
And where were the eye holes on the mask? Because we were looking and we thought maybe in the tear ducts, like a tiny little tiny, but it's like very tiny. Like, how did he see through the mask? And why was he wearing the mask to begin with if she was blind? And then I thought, like, well, no, he has an obsession with beauty, so maybe that was his idea of beauty,
yeah,
or
well,
something
it
like
sounded
that.
like he liked dolls, like you said, and
Yeah.
stuff, and he wore the doll mask, and then he took the fake hair off the doll mask, the wig, and I was just laughing so hard because I thought that was part of the mask, and then you
I
know,
wonder why Faye didn't smell the blood. Because she talked about how she could hear everything better, how she could smell everything better, and yet she didn't hear when he was walking all around her while dancing, like
right.
that close to her, and she didn't smell all the blood on that shirt. That was a significant amount of blood. But
Yeah, that
then
was
also how would you really know? It could have just been, maybe he used the perfume that Luke was using to try and get closer to her. Maybe he just covered it up with that or something. But I mean, overall, I did enjoy it. My only issues really are with the story. And that's just particular facets of it. I think it had like a lot more potential it could have hit. And I think that it was really great, like how it turned out as it was. And I think the cinematography was beautiful.
100%. I agree. I love this. Like this movie was better than I like even expected. So as I said before, so I'm just blown away that, and I was really excited because I was a little nervous with even watching it going, all right, I don't know what you're gonna think,
Mhm.
because it's still an independent film. There's still probably little
Yeah.
flaws that are in it. But as far as independent films go, this is actually really, really good. And it makes me more excited for Marcel, who I've met in person last year. Wonderful guy, just really nice, down to earth, like just simple dude who has like just a good eye for, every movie I've seen of his so far has been pretty spot on good for independent films. Like I feel like this dude should be making like mainstream horror movies.
I think that he's definitely like I think that he's very, very talented. I would very much like to pick his brain on stuff.
Definitely. If we ever do like an interview, I'll invite you on to do
Yay.
it, to do it so you can pick his brain. But yeah, all in all, I was very impressed, very happy. I think you were too, which is great because once again, you just never know with these things. You could have been like, "Oh, I didn't like that," and you could have been a little bit more picky than I was because you're seeing things from a different perspective. Period. You're
Mhm.
looking at this from cinematography slash directing slash, what I mean, those kind of things more
Yeah.
so than I was more looking to the acting and mainly to the writing of it, which I thought Joe Netter did an amazing job. Creating this world where you didn't know who this person was before you watched the movie, and all of a sudden you're kind of engulfed in their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was very like emotionally personal, like sort of story.
It
It
definitely
was very
was.
like introspective of what Faye was going through because the times that she expressed the most emotion was when she was alone,
Exactly.
which definitely speaks to just like the general way that she seemed to operate.
Well, it seemed, and maybe they can, correct me if I'm wrong. Sometimes somebody can. But it seemed that she felt she like it was a lot of self-loathing because and once again it goes back to beauty. She felt beautiful when she was, had her contacts on, but she knew she would feel more beautiful if she could just see. Then when she got that taken away from her, she felt ugly. She felt like she couldn't, you
Right.
know, and then there was Tyler Gallant's character Luke, who felt like he was out of her league. And I'm like, dude, you look like Jason Momoa. Don't ever like think like, like
Absolutely, my favorite character should have been better protected. Also, I wish if I had just one wish for this movie, it would have been that one person that she finally had the guts to say how she felt to could have heard it. Because when she said it to Sophia, Sophia didn't hear it because she was already dead. And when
Mhm.
she said it to Luke, it wasn't even Luke. Luke was also dead, question mark.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. I mean, we'll find out. But I have this feeling he is. I just don't know what
But
his.
like if he isn't, what is she gonna do? Monologue again? Like the
I mean,
moment's gone, dude.
it's gonna be sad if we watch Pretty Boy, and spoilers for Pretty Boy if this is actually what happens. But if in Pretty Boy you walk out of the room, she like the only scene we see of him is when he's like carrying her away, and you see his dead body, and like that's all that he's in that like movie with his credit in it. Like it would be like kind of sad. Like at that point, I would be like, I mean, why not just take her out the back and just be like, we're just not gonna have him in the
And like
movie because
can we get an explanation on why like she seemed to have gotten her sight back at the last second? Like was it the blood off of the rose? Was it some sort of spell or was it like something that was like an initial fuck up but then like got fixed at
yeah,
this opportune moment or what?
like maybe all of a sudden she got her eyesight back. I don't know.
I
It
mean,
was
in Stranger Things, right?
right. I mean, maybe, but that would sound like something that obviously is going to be addressed most likely in Pretty Boy because I'm guessing that's how it's going to open
I
is,
mean, gosh, now I want to see Pretty Boy like a lot because I demand explanations, and if I don't get them, I'm gonna be very sad.
I know if okay, so if it comes out by October, or so or whatever, close to that, we'll do it for the quick review Thursday, last one in November.
Okay.
So, but if it comes out later, we'll do the quick review Thursday for next year, and that'll be the one we do. But I do want to do that with you, and I actually want to show this movie to Paul because I
Yes.
feel like Paul sees so much crap on purpose. Like he likes watching bad movies and everything. And then when a great indie, like he loves great movies. He likes movies that actually are good.
Yeah.
And so he would probably really like this movie, but he might also be a little picky about things that we're not picky about. So I'd love to
I
show
would like
Paul
to see
this.
what he'd be picky about, honestly. I would love to
Yeah.
hear his opinion
Yeah,
on
I'd
that.
love to hear his thoughts on it. So I'm gonna let him know tonight to watch it sometime or so, and let me know what his thoughts are because I think that you want to know. So that'll probably get him more to do it because he sees me all the time, but he's a big fan of yours. So yeah, I mean this all in all, once again, this was a really fun movie, entertaining. There was I don't think there was really any slow moments.
The
It
whole thing
was
was kind of slow, but there wasn't any there weren't any like truly like some of them they have that lull that's almost like boring. They didn't have like a
mhm.
full lull. There was always some sort of emotion happening.
There was something going on that you were interested in seeing what happened, you
Except
know.
for that dancing scene. I would have been interested in that for like maybe 15 seconds, but like not a whole almost 2 minutes. No.
That Love Is Blind. Uh,
all the songs had something to do with not seeing. And it
I mean, kind of
made sense. It
puts
made sense
the
for the
puts the
narrative.
the home, whatever. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe you're right. Maybe too on the nose, but
I don't know if it's too on the nose or anything. It was just present. That's all. It's just an
I was
observation.
looking for an on the nose joke with blindness, but that didn't work. I mean, nose and whatever and
Why
eyes. I
not
don't.
be good?
Yeah, I might have to cut this out. All right. Anyway, oh Lord, once again I loved having you on the show. You were on last year. That was your introduction into. I think you did like an alien one. So
Yes, it was
this
me.
this time this was a little bit different. Actually very different. movie where, you kind of got to finally see, something that, and it felt like a labor of love. This felt like something people were passionate about. And
Yeah.
a story, like so many people talk about writing a story that they feel needs to be told. And maybe in a way, the allegory of like being blind and hating yourself because you can't see. I have seen it before in films, but not to this extent of like basically making the whole movie about it.
Yeah,
That's
not to the
just
extent of like depth of emotion like it was.
exactly. So I really enjoyed that. And I felt like Joe Netter and Marcel Waltz did a fantastic job. They're back in Pretty Boys, so I can't wait to see what that happens. And maybe there'll be another one. Who knows?
I had one last thought. I really did appreciate how they normalized the use of a translation device of like of a communication device.
Yeah.
The dialogue from Luke was through that. My friends and I were discussing that, and that was one thing that they very much appreciated was the fact that it was so just there wasn't a big deal about it. It was just there.
Right.
It's really
Oh,
cool.
you just wanted to mention. Okay. Well, what I wanted to mention about that was he was using his phone, right?
Yeah, it's like there's a communication app that a lot of people use who don't have voices.
So does that work when you're actually on the phone with somebody? Because that's what happened. She was talking to him on the phone.
I think she was leaving him a message.
No, she was chatting with him because she said, come over. I don't want to be, okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
I am
So she
sure
was,
that it has something along those lines. I'm sure that
I would hope so, because otherwise it's very confusing as to
I mean,
why.
it would make sense because people still need to do things like put in orders and talk to customer service and stuff like that. Like,
He also gave her his number, unless she was just texting him, which
well, texting.
also could have worked, you know.
Yeah.
She could have just texted him and said, "Hey, Luke, can you come over? I don't want to," you know what I mean?
Well,
And
that
that
would have had to be voice to text, and voice to text isn't always accurate, so I wouldn't trust it.
okay. Well, and plus you're blind, so you can't see if it's right or wrong,
Yeah.
when you're when they're doing it. So maybe you're right. Yeah, I would definitely would not trust that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ri'Maku. Stick around. I'll chat with you after. But everybody else, thank you guys. Tune in tomorrow for another day of 31 days of indie horror. Have a good one, guys. Bye.